big shocker from CBR here. Really, really big shocker from CBR. They're coming out and admitting something that, they're late to the game with, because I covered that in my review, and the fact of it is that anybody who knows what's going on in terms of the MCU movies knows that these things aren't shaping up the way they're supposed to. But let me actually get into what it is CBR has to say. Here's the article. Guardian of the Galaxy's Adam Warlock is better in the comics. Here's why. Big shocker. Big shocker. I've been saying this for the longest time. Adam Warlock, introducing him, no. I said it. Young Ripper said it. A lot of other people talking about it. Introducing Adam Warlock in Guardians of the Galaxy 3 after Thanos is gone makes no sense. Because in the comics, Adam Warlock was essential to the Infinity Gauntlet arc. He was the first person to get an Infinity Stone. Nobody even knew about him until he got an Infinity Stone. And then he eventually had to get the Infinity Gauntlet and the whole thing with Thanos and all that stuff. All of this thing. Adam Warlock is an Omega level entity. Literally badass. And they turned him into a flicking man baby joke in Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Well, let's get into what CBR has to say, and I could just rip them a new one. So, Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3 introduces a different version of Adam Warlock, and he's not quite the revered heroic figure that comic fans expected. What a big shocker. After being teased in previous films, Adam Warlock has finally debuted in the Marvel Cinematic Universe via Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3. Here the character is extremely powerful. No, kind of powerful, but not really. Matching his comic book counterpart in the strength department. Unfortunately, this and his appearance are about where the similarities end. Adam Warlock characterization in the new James Gunn movie is essentially an overgrown petulant child. Yep. This puts him at odds with his portrayal in the comics as a much sterner, wiser character. In fact, the comic book version was instrumental, listen to this, in the storyline that inspired Avengers Infinity War, making his changes even more noticeable. What was once a major cosmic character is now a mere lackey who's portrayed far differently. It's part of an unfortunate trend with MCU powerhouses, and it robs Adam of his usual gravitas. Now, as they say here, his comic book version was instrumental in the storyline that inspired Avengers Infinity War. Like I said, Adam Warlock was a key figure of the Infinity Gauntlet. The whole Infinity Gauntlet arc that took place in Marvel Comics, he was an essential part of that. But when you have these writers, and I actually did a video on this comment before, where you had these people come out and say, that when they're hiring people to do these movies, they want them to create their own thing. They don't want them to stick to the source material. So you get nonsense portrayed like this. Adam Warlock, you should have included him in the whole Infinity Saga thing that you were building up to. That is where he should have been. When you had Miss Marvel, you had Captain Marvel coming down from the sky and all kind of thing, that should have been Adam Warlock, and that's where you would have had time to build him up, building him up beforehand, then introducing him as a badass powerhouse. They had to rival Thanos, but now Thanos is long gone. And you're introducing Adam Warlock and act like people are supposed to be happy about this. Why? And when you brought him in, rather than you have him with the same stern, wise, characteristics about him, no, you just turn him into a petulant man baby and you've robbed him of his gravitas. And when CBR has to come out and talk about how, talk about the MCU is turning everything into a ridiculous running joke, you know something is wrong at that point. You know that it's not working out. MCU is a damaged brand, and they just keep making themselves worse. When they don't stop them because CBR goes on and they talk about how they pretty much screwed it up. They went on to talk about how Adam Warlock first came about and all kind of thing. All right, and they go on. Right. They go on here with this. This isn't the first time that the Marvel Cinematic Universe has added comedic elements to a character, though it is perhaps the most egregious. The MCU is known for its comedy. Why? Because they, for some reason, think that turning everything into a running joke is somehow a new wave of the future. It's not. When your movies were serious, when your movies were action-based, when your movies were adventure-based, when your movies had some actual style to them, they were good. They had little bits of humor sprinkled in here and there that actually matched the tone of what you were doing. Now everything is a damn joke. You're turning characters into literal stand-up comedians and it doesn't work. Go on, right? The MCU is right, and it's been particularly used in the form of its resident powerhouses. Talk about it. Hulk has become a gag. Tell something. Hulk isn't even a gag anymore, Hulk is just pathetic now. They've literally made Hulk pathetic. Nobody gives a crap about Professor Hulk. It's laughable. Literally laughable. How they have torn down that character. Because in the first Avengers movie, when you actually hear Bruce Banner talking about his struggles with the Hulk, and how he tried to literally Minecraft himself because he got to such a bad point. You were like, okay, this is serious. Now it's a running joke, and you know what? She-Hulk has it much harder than me because some man told her how to do her job, and we don't know if she didn't know how to do it. I mean, it's just crap. That's what it is. And so some catcalling is actually worse than the hell Bruce Banner lived through. Anyway, so Hulk had become a gag, far from the tortured monster man on the run that he was beforehand. Back then he was actually interested. The same goes with Thor, who's increasingly leaned into comedy as his film series has progressed. Yes, because Thor Love and Thunder was garbage. Perhaps one of the worst superhero movies ever made. With how much Adam Warlock was anticipated by fans, I think people had pretty much given up by that point. Doing the same to him feels like a reach, even if it does fall in line with the sense of humor in the Guardians of the Galaxy movies. The comic book version of Adam Warlock is a better character in how he develops, gaining a more organic reverence for life. This in turn grants him a huge degree of respect, and he's never downplayed or rendered a psychological child to get there. So you see, this is what I'm talking about. I have been saying it for the longest while. Other people have been saying it for the longest, but I know CBR is late to the game and literally pointing out things that everybody has been saying, especially Western been saying for the longest time. Guardians of the Galaxy, Adam Warlock is better in the comics here because, in the comics he actually has a freaking personality. He said they actually developed him as a character. In the movie, they turned him into a bloody joke, which is what they've been doing with every one of their heroes non-stop. And then you wonder why people have no more faith in the MCU. You're destroying yourself, destroying your characters, and now you're coming out to ask why. Adam Warlock was an essential part of the Infinity Gauntlet saga in the comics. You could have done that and you would have had something to play off with him in another follow-up movie. But Marvel slash MCU slash Disney has completely abandoned anything in the comics that could have been good, and they are determined to just destroy it now. That's what they're doing. So yeah, coming out with this article say that, he's better in the comics, it's not news to anybody. Pretty much everybody knows that. Anybody who is a comic fan will know that. Don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that, Adam Warlock is some well-known character all the world. No, unless you're an actual comic fan. And again, I say, I am not 100% versed in Adam Warlock. I know some things about him, but I'm not some kind of lifelong fan who look at him. No, I know some things about him. I've explained my situation, where I live, comics were hard to get at the time, but I do know some things about him. And I could tell you, what they did in the movie with him was downright criminal. Your thoughts on this in the comments. Have a different opinion, I'd love to hear it. If you like the video, be sure to hit that thumbs up. Subscribe if you haven't already, ring the notification bell, and notified every time I put out a new video. And I shall see you all next time. Take care.